Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you, glad you came too. Like your style and you know you got moves. You spit game and you know you spit.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Fastlane Collective. I'm your host, Brianna, and I am joined by my co-host, Yasmin. Yasmin, how are you? How are you doing? Are you surviving the European heat wave that apparently is happening over there?
I'm just about surviving. I was at work all day today in my car that doesn't have air conditioning because it's
Oh.
broken. My car is 16 years old, so she's old. She's trucking along. I'm being a community care assistant. I am in and out of people's houses all day, all over the country. So that's an indicator of how my day's been going and how I've been handling the heat.
Wow.
Barely.
Yeah, we are also having a bit of a heat wave over here, but we were just discussing this before we jumped on, is I just don't understand how you guys don't believe in air conditioning, like even in your homes. I just don't understand it. Nobody here in the US lives without air conditioning because it's insane. It's an insane thing to do. But you guys do it all the time, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think the only place that really has air conditioning is like hospitals and like shops and maybe some restaurants. I don't know, it's just never
Maybe.
been it's just never been something that's been normal in Ireland or the UK. I don't know, it's just like we don't need it. Like we don't use it like most of the year. It's only the summer, maybe for like 2 weeks we get really bad heat, so
I mean, I only use it in the summer too, but that's the point of air conditioning.
oh yeah. Like America is hot all the time. That's
Yeah.
why I thought America was.
I mean, I know our weather is very different. You guys don't often get incredibly hot. We're over here in the summertime. It is consistently hot, but we are having an abnormal heat wave. It's going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are celebrating the 4th of July this weekend. So we'll all be outside sweating together, just celebrating our separation from the London, UK, England at the time. So sorry about that. Anyway, listen, you guys, just bear with us on this podcast because we tried the opening recording of this podcast twice.
Yeah.
It was rough, but we made it. The opening is over. So let's move on to the news. We have 2 bits of news for you this week, both FIA related, which if you hate the FIA and you just don't want to hear about it, this is your cue to skip onto our race recap. So go ahead. But if you want to hear about the FIA craziness going on, let's start with actually a positive thing that came out of the FIA this week. Obviously, they all met for their big meeting with the teams and all the FIA personnel, and they have decided that moving forward for 2027 and 2028, and honestly, probably beyond, they have decided it is best to move away from this 50-50 electric power and engine power, and they are going to be more leaning toward ICE, which is obviously internal combustion engines, if you didn't know what that stood for. This, I think, personally is a good thing, just seeing how this whole 50-50 power ratio has played out this year and how they had to make changes pretty much immediately. And honestly, as a motorsport fan, I understand the environmental standpoint, but at some point I'm like, okay, well, if you're moving toward over 50% electric power, then let's just watch. So I'm kind of happy to hear that they're not ditching the electric power completely, but they're just pushing it back a little bit more. And I think there's a lot of other ways that F1 can honestly make a bigger impact in the environment and it not be like making our cars fully electric. Yasmin, as a fan and as somebody who obviously cares about the environment and our world, how do you feel about the FIA deciding to kind of pull back a little bit on that 50-50 power ratio?
When I first heard the news, I was like, I was kind of in these like 2 worlds where I am very like vocal about, climate change and things that we as the general public can do to help. And it can be kind of conflicting being a motorsport fan because again, it's not really environmentally friendly. But I understand their decision, and like you said, there is many ways to help with contributing to helping the environment. Like I know that we're having like renewable fuel, and I think we should also like maybe change the calendar a wee bit so it's more like we're not hopping all over the world like zigzagging. We can do it in more of an eco-friendly way. I know some teams like they package up the cars and like different bits of the material in like I don't know how they do it exactly, but it's in a more eco-friendly way. Um, but yeah, like again, we could just be watching Formula E if we went fully electric. But I like that they're kind of coming at this with like, okay, we're going to do this, but we can do other things differently to help the environment. So I think overall, it's not all doom and gloom. It's a positive change. And you know what? I'm just happy that the FIA are actually communicating with the teams because I feel like sometimes it's just like, you do as we say. That's the rules.
Yeah, and I feel like too, it feels like as fans we've been heard as well. I really do feel like there's more environmental impact when it comes to the way they run around the world, the way they ship things. I think about extreme e-racing and how they use a boat to get their things from place to place. And to be honest, a weekend of these cars running on a track is probably not making a huge environmental impact. I guarantee you the people driving to the race are making a bigger environmental impact than the cars on the track. So I agree. And I think there's going to be some really, really great things coming out of all the research and all the investment they're putting into these renewable fuel. If you never looked into kind of how F1 recycles and uses their tires, really interesting and very, very cool technology that has come from that hopefully can be used throughout the world then later on. There's been so many things that have come from Formula One that are now used in our cars that we use every single day, which is crazy to think. So it does excite me to think, let's focus on some other areas of the sport that we could impact and make a bigger impact, and keep I don't want to say the pureness of the sport, but I'm here to watch cars with engines go around a track and make noise and be loud. Like, I know that sounds funny, but that's what I'm here. I'm not here to watch an electric car because we already have that. We already have electric racing, Formula E. Daniela works in it. Like, we already have that. So let's not try to make the sport more like a sport that already exists. Let's keep the sport at its core of what it's here for, but still, help with the environmental impact. So good news. I also think that kind of 50-50 coming not only is good, but I think also it's good for the racing. Do you agree? Do you think like drawing a line in the sand and being like, okay, we're probably never going to go back to 50-50 or past 50 because of what we saw with the racing?
Yeah, I think it's positive that they've come to this decision now because something that again, like I've mentioned in these podcasts before, is like I feel like the FAA do a lot of back and forth. Like there's not a solid decision, and that can be from something like this kind of decision with determining the engines or to like a race result. We need like, okay, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it this way for a while and we'll figure it all out together. Like again, these are new regulations. The teams are trying to figure it out. FIA are trying to figure it out, and we as fans, I guess, are trying to figure it out as well. So it's intriguing as well that like we're kind of in this no man's land of unknown. So I'm really like, again, I'm not like technical with anything to come with the Formula One cars, but this is something that's been really interesting to me to see. Okay, where do we go now with how we build these cars and how it affects racing going forwards.
Yeah, and it'll be taking effect, they said, in 2027. So I wonder if it'll make the season for 2027 feel like the beginning of the season, depending on how big the changes are. I could see them not making huge changes because obviously that's a lot of money for these teams. They've designed these cards around this 50-50 situation, and then they're like, oh, just kidding, changing it. And they've only made this decision now in this point of the 2026 season. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in 2027, but also when the new set of larger regulation changes happens next time, what will that look like? How will that be? And how will that impact the season coming up? So very interesting, but I think honestly the positive feedback, I have not seen any negative feedback about this. Mostly a lot of people like a sigh of relief of like, oh, okay, thank God you realize the error of your ways and we are going back to what makes sense, which I think we can all agree. The last bit of news, which isn't as positive, I guess, to say, is the FIA also came out this week saying that they voted to get rid of the president's term limits. Why? This seems stupid. And also, if you get rid of term limits, that sounds like a dictatorship. Does it not? Isn't this how dictatorships happen? Like, they're just like, no more term limits. Like, this seems dumb, right, Yasmin? Do you agree this is stupid?
It was something that actually you said again when we were like talking about the podcast and what we were going to bring up. You were like, what does what does the FAA have on everyone? Like, this is such a like a crazy, I don't know, it just sounds so ridiculous. I just don't understand how this is fair. I, j- I literally don't have words because it just sounds so crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? Like, I get that, like, maybe you want to extend the limit of how long somebody could be in power, but yeah, just having like you can just go as long as you want is
Forever.
crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and like I know there wasn't a ton of information like this came out saying they've gotten rid of limits. I don't know if that means they're getting rid of their election entirely. If people can, does that just mean there'll be like a snap election if like someone is like, "Oh, I want to run," and they qualify. But we've seen how Mohammed bin Salim has acted when people have come forward to be like, "I want to run against you." And it just doesn't make sense. Like, this never goes well. Just look at history of the world, okay? Like, this never works out well. Didn't work out well for a lot of countries and people. I don't think it's going to work out well for motorsport. But whatever, they did it. We all think it's stupid. It personally doesn't make sense. And honestly, I can just see it causing more and more problems. Do you agree?
100%. This is just gonna cause more, I don't know, shit stirring in the
Yeah.
FIA. Like, we complain enough about the decision making, about how the FIA is run. And this is just, I think, putting like the nail in the coffin of you guys having to listen to me, Brianna, and Daniela complain until this rule goes away.
I don't think it's going to be just us complaining, let's just say that. But whatever Mohammed bin Salim has on all these people at the FIA and F1, it must be good. Because they were willing to give him complete power forever.
Like a
So,
Disney villain. Like, literally sounds like a Disney villain.
yeah.
Like, what's going on?
He for sure has blackmail on every single one of them. It's like the F1 files. He's just going to be, like I said, the Epstein files. He's just going to be like, remember that time you went to Cancun and cheated on your wife? I have pictures. And that's what he's been doing. That's how I think he's gotten power. Anyways, it's strange. On par for the FIA for making dumb, stupid decisions. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, it is completely makes sense for them because they make no sense at all. So, yeah, Mohammed bin Salim forever. I'm going to call him El Dictator from now on because it's not a presidency. It's a dictatorship now. So, the kingdom of the FIA will continue with their fearless leader until, I don't know, he croaks or decides to step down, which, let's be real, that man's never going to decide to step down. Remember when he was like, I'm going to remove myself more from F1, but then showed up to every single F1 race and still, like, inserts himself in every single, oh, I must shake everyone's hand. Let me be buddy with you, and I'm going to be over here. I just remember when he was like, I'm going to step away from the spotlight and be less involved. And I was like, you're still here at every single race.
Don't believe a word that man says.
No.
That's what I've learned. I feel like he will be making decisions on his deathbed. Like, it will be his last breath.
Yeah. He'll be
Crazy.
like, give the championship back to... I'm just going to call him El Prez forever. That's the end of the news. Before we get into the race recap, quick note from our sponsor. Really quick, guys, I want to talk about our sponsor, which I'm so proud to be the owner of, which is Grand Prix Girl. If you didn't know, Grand Prix Girl really started with a simple frustration. It's me and my mom. We've loved F1 for so long, but we couldn't find merchandise made for women, which kind of blew our minds, seeing that women make up now over 43% of the F1 fan base. So we decided to make our own. Yes, that's right. We went into business together and we started making our own F1 merch. The brand is called Grand Prix Girl. Grand Prix Girl offers jewelry in race day style designs exclusively for female F1 fans. We keep you guys top of mind every time we are designing something, and our brand is truly all around female Formula One and motorsports fans. You can shop our best-selling products like our paddock pendant and even our new double stack bracelets that just came out at grandprixgirl.com. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok as well at Grand Prix Girl, and we hope you come join us over in our community. We are really proud to sponsor this podcast, and we are so proud and honored to bring you merch made for female fans. So again, go check us out at grandprixgirl.com, and back to the podcast. All right, guys, let's get into the race. Austria is one of my favorite tracks. There's just something about it, the Red Bull Ring, the beautiful scenery around that track. If I had to go to another race and it not be over here in North America, I would say Austria, hands down. I don't know how you feel about Austria, Yasmin.
Me too. It is gorgeous, and every time me and my mum watch the footage of, well, we watch the race, we say it every year. We have to go. We have to go. It's so beautiful. Even if we don't go for a race, we have to go. It is just literally like a painting, picturesque.
Yeah. All I can hear is like, the hills are alive with the sound of cars. Julie Andrew, like on the mountain in the background of the track, just spinning around in the flower field. Like, that's what I imagine. But it also produces some really great racing moments. There are so many moments on this track, battles that I've seen that have stuck in my mind. So I always get excited when we come here. And that didn't change this year. I would say if I had to make predictions for this race, which I didn't, I did in my head. None of those came true this weekend. Like, who I thought was going to be on that podium was not even near it, which was crazy, but also made this race incredibly interesting. There were a lot of good moments, a lot of good overtake moments, and a lot of unexpected performances. And speaking of unexpected, I feel like the big one this weekend, Red Bull and Max Verstappen, baby. I don't know if they replaced the fuel with Red Bull. You know, Red Bull gives you wings or whatever the commercials say, but it gave Max Verstappen wings. And he was back. How excited were you, Yasmin? One, to see Max up there battling in the top tier with his peers. And two, to see Red Bull looking in good form again after they've kind of been nowhere these first several races.
Yeah, so I knew that Red Bull were bringing upgrades to Austria, but I did not expect them to perform the way they did this weekend. I was very surprised in a positive way, because sometimes with that team, I just don't like the look. But this year it's been not the best. We could tell that Max has been really frustrated with how the car is. He's done a lot of complaining about not really having control of the car, like it always kind of sliding on him. But he seemed to be definitely in control of his car this weekend with the battles that he was having with Lewis. It was like 2021 all over again. So it was a really positive weekend for Red Bull. And this could be a sign of things to come. And I don't want to kind of get our hopes up because, again, last weekend I said that about Lewis Hamilton and that didn't work out this weekend. So we're going to remain positive that we could be getting somewhere with Red Bull. It's at least a positive result for the team for this weekend.
Yeah, and I felt like they needed it. Honestly, I feel like that team, ever since everything that happened last year, all of the personnel switch-ups, to see them kind of come out this year on the back foot was interesting. It felt like McLaren in the last rule changes, how everyone was like high hopes, and then we were like, uh-oh, Not so high anymore. That's kind of how it felt with them, and I'm sure in the team this podium, obviously Max finished in second on the podium, first podium of the season for him, I believe, which is crazy to say that this is Max's first podium this season. I'm sure it was kind of a little bit of a sigh of relief for the team, the members, like, okay, we're making progress. We're getting somewhere. Especially with all these rumors flying around about Max Verstappen possibly leaving Red Bull, which I don't know. Rumors have been flying around about Max possibly leaving for the past 4 years with the way that team has been in chaos. But I'm sure it's a little sigh of relief there too for the people leading that team, because if you didn't know, Max Verstappen does have a clause in his contract that if that team isn't sitting in a certain spot in the championship by a certain time in the season, Max can just peace on out of there and do whatever he wants. So did you think, Yasmin, that Max also seemed positive this weekend? I know he is definitely one to be hard on himself and the team, and even when things seem to be going well, you can still hear him be like, oh, well, this or that, or the car, blah, 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 it's not where it needs to be. Do you think that Max got a boost of positivity in him from these good results this weekend?
Yes, I think Max needed this weekend. He needed this positive result. Like you mentioned, he's just been a bit doom and gloom, let's say. Um,
When is
this
he not
season.
doom and gloom, honestly?
Well,
Like, he's...
that's very true. But I mean, more than usual, more than usual. A lot
Mhm.
more critical of the team. Which again, rightly so. This has not been where Red Bull have been like really for a good while, a good couple of years. So it's good to see that he's kind of back in good form. We've seen that Max again has been looking at other racing series and kind of hinting that he doesn't really want to stay in the sport. And I'm not saying that this one result is going to make him go, oh well, let's sign a contract for 5 years. Let's go. Um, but I think this could be this could progress into maybe him staying for another year. Um, Max is Red Bull. Max is the brand of Red Bull. So I think if he was to leave, it would be like such a shock to the system for the team. So I don't think
Yeah.
Red Bull will want to see Max go yet. Not that I think he's going to go to McLaren. That has been circulating. I think he would just leave.
Yeah, I agree. If he does leave, I don't see him going anywhere else. But I said that about Lewis Hamilton, and he shocked me with going to another team. I just saw like him like being buried with his Mercedes. Like I didn't see him ever leaving. Like he'd be there till he was 90 and he would die in the car, not of because he was racing, just because he would never leave. But Max, I could see him moving on to other forms of racing before he jumped to another team. I will say I feel like he could pull a Fernando if he does leave F1, like go to another series for a year or two and then come back. But yeah, the rumors of him going to McLaren, I don't know. I just feel like he wouldn't fit in that team dynamic. And
Yeah.
his manager also did say this week, like, we feel comfortable there at Red Bull, he was saying, which makes sense. He's been there for forever. It's like been his home. But Yasmin, in your opinion, the fact that his manager's like, we feel comfortable there, is that a bad thing? Like, do you feel too comfortable?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good question. Um, Yeah, I think feeling really comfortable at a team can be good and it can be bad. Again, like look at Lewis, he was so comfortable at Mercedes and everything about Mercedes. And we're still seeing him trying to figure out what it's like at Ferrari and if it's going to work out for him or not. So far, so good. But again, not every driver is that lucky. Like again, Daniel Ricciardo, I don't want to say it.
No. PTSD, the pain, the pain.
Literally, oh, like dagger to the heart. Don't know why I brought that up first, but not everyone. And I'm not saying that Max is going to be the same, especially he's a four-time world champion.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what it takes to win, but I feel like if it just, I don't know. I feel like Max just his heart isn't in F1 as much anymore. He's done what he wanted to do. So if he was going to move, if he was going to go anywhere, I think it would be to another series.
Yeah, agreed. But great result for him. Great result for Red Bull this weekend. They really needed at least Max to be happy. And it's positive also as well, bringing those upgrades and seeing that instant competitiveness, the instant results. It's such a great thing to see. I'm sure they've put in so much work into bringing these upgrades, and nothing is better when you're just kind of crossing your fingers and it all goes to plan. And that's kind of how it seemed for them this weekend. So well done, Red Bull. We're clapping for you. Great performance. And who doesn't love to see Max Verstappen fighting up at the front, but specifically with Lewis Hamilton? I mean, come on.
Taylor's all the time. We love it.
Yeah, we love it. We love to see it, and it was great to watch. What wasn't so great to watch this weekend? To intro my team that I love and care about, and that I'm literally wearing my Charles Leclerc Monaco shirt right now. Ferrari.
Which you can get at GP Girl.
Yes, which you can get at Grand Prix Girl. Custom artwork. Man, I just don't know what happened to them this weekend, Yasmin. They looked great in qualifying. And if you would have told me after qualifying if they were going to be on the podium, I would have been like, yeah, of course. Like, look at them. Like, of course they're going to be on the podium. Obviously, Lewis coming out of all of these great results he's had over the past 2 races. I felt like it was all there for them, and it just kind of fell apart, and not necessarily because of anything they did. What do you think happened with them this weekend, Yasmin?
I like to put everything down to, well, the heat was just so bad. But when I think about Charles Leclerc and his performance this weekend, I just kind of got the impression that he didn't have the confidence in himself after last week. And I said this at our podcast last week, that this is what Charles does. This is what he does every time, every year. We get somewhere like this with him, where he just, I don't know, he gets like a bad couple races, some bad luck. Maybe he doesn't understand the brakes at the minute, or he's having these brake issues. And then he just like acts like he's the most terrible driver in the world, and he doesn't deserve being here in F1, and that he's just a terrible human being. And that's not true. He doesn't have that mindset of a championship winner. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. And I love Charles Leclerc. I would love to see him win a world championship. I want to see him on the podium week in, week out. But there's like this disconnect. I know it kind of went off topic there with what I felt went wrong this weekend. Charles Leclerc, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, oh, that hurts to hear you say that. Oh, the dagger in the heart. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from as a resident Charles Leclerc stan. I am also feeling like this feeling of frustration with him. I talked about this 2 episodes ago, about how he's a little too hard on himself. And he's even said that in the past. He just really gets down on himself, and in a way that's like so self-deprecating. And it's like, ooh, okay, dude, like, yes, be hard on yourself. You need to acknowledge what's going on and be real about it and take responsibility. But don't sit there and just be like, I'm the worst. I don't deserve to be here. My team, I'm letting them down. I'm the worst person. Like, that's when it starts to get unhealthy, and also self-loathing. Like, no one wants to hear you beat yourself up. So I don't know, but in qualifying, I feel like we got a little glimmer of our boy. I mean, he had a great performance, almost pole, second, obviously, to George Russell. And I thought, okay, this could be positive. Like, we're having a good result. Charles is obviously, I mean, in my personal opinion, is great in qualifying. He can just pull out some absolutely amazing laps weekend after weekend. So I was happy to see him up there. But then it just didn't translate to the race. And I agree with you, Yasmin. I think the heat did really play into their strategy, them not being able to keep pace. Their tire deg was becoming a problem. It wasn't just them, it was so many other teams, which the one we'll get into here in a second, that the heat was completely just wreaking havoc on their cars. I guess my question for you is, if the heat wasn't a variable in this weekend, do you think the Ferraris would have been up there fighting with Max and George?
Mm.
Long pause.
You know
Thinking,
what?
thinking.
It's difficult because, again, maybe the car just doesn't sit this track. Maybe it's the altitude. Again, we are really high up on this track in Austria. So it could be a multitude of things. I'm not trying to write Ferrari off, being like, well, they just had this one good result with Lewis last weekend and that's it. Although when I did see how they raced this weekend, like that kind of did creep into my mind. But we still have the rest of the season. So I think it's maybe just a track specific issue maybe that they've had with the heat playing within that as well. I mean, next weekend, we are at Silverstone, which is going to be a lot cooler, a completely different track. So we could see Ferrari back up there. Maybe we might even see Lewis maybe get a win. We don't know. But the main issue that I think Ferrari have, well, Charles has at the minute, is his confidence. And if he doesn't have confidence in himself, how is he going to perform in the car? Especially this brake problem that Charles keeps bringing up. It's kind of like his scapegoat, I think, a little bit. And I'm not doubting at all that there's not issues that he's having with the brakes. I'm sure there is. I think he switched to the type of brakes that Lewis was using, and they still weren't getting anywhere with it. So I think once he gets this issues resolved and gets that confidence back, we might see a Ferrari 1-2. It's definitely possible. There's still many races left this season. Are you kind of with me, Brianna, on this one? Or am I just kind of in Delulu land of Charles Leclerc hate, apparently?
No, I don't know what's going on with the brakes, to be honest with you. And I feel like personally, as a Ferrari fan, I need to dig into their post-race interviews. What specifically with the brakes are we saying is going on? Because you're right, it's coming up a lot on Charles' side of the garage and not so much on Lewis's. So he could be using it as a scapegoat, an excuse, or somewhere to place his blame, when really it's a lot of mental work he needs to do within himself. I mean, if Charles Leclerc doesn't have a sports psychiatrist, get one now, bro. Get one now. Or Lewis Hamilton.
Time.
Yeah. Do not underestimate that man. You give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. You need to get on top of this. And I said this 2 episodes back when Charles sad-faced Leclerc was at the post-race interview. I literally wanted to whop, whop, slap him across the face and be like, wake up! You are Charles Leclerc! Remember the Lion King moment, the remember who you are thing. Come on. You can do this. Now let's put on our big boy pants and go out there and show them what we got. You know? That's how I feel. Was that very American of me?
It's a little bit, but hey, we've got to have some American flavor in this podcast.
Pull up your britches and get on out there. I don't know. It's the 4th of July this weekend. Maybe I'm a little extra spirited. But yeah, it's going to be a problem, especially when you've got a 7-time world champion now next to you. This is really the first time he's had someone in that other seat that could be a big threat and has proven to be a threat to many people. Carlos Sainz is probably the closest one to come to outperforming him, but still they're a little bit of a threat, but nothing crazy. Charles was still able to kind of compete with that. I felt they were a little bit more even. But yeah, he signed, just like Mohammed Ben Salim's contract with the FIA as president, Charles Leclerc signed the same contract to be with Ferrari till the end, or whenever he decides to leave.
Till death do us part.
Yeah, literally that is how it is with him and Ferrari. And if he doesn't get this under control now, I think it will be a very painful rest of the season for him. and a very painful future for him and Ferrari. Lewis obviously finished in 5th, Charles all the way in 8th. I mean, 5th and 8th from where they started in the beginning and is just, that ain't great. Just not good results. Still points this week though for them, which is great. But don't worry, Yasmin, we're not the only ones thinking about this Charles Leclerc issue, because the headlining article on F1's front page today is, why is Leclerc struggling and how can he find form?
Oof. I saw actually before we even went on this podcast, Sky F1 put up like a post of every race, and it was like who did better, and it's like Hamilton, Leclerc, Hamilton. So I know I'm not the only one thinking this, but it's hard with Charles because I think we've all kind of been given this, like, we've kind of gone with him on this dream of Ferrari, and we all are kind of attached, and I think now everyone's starting to see time's running out, but like the clock's ticking. We ain't getting the results here. So
and it's not even that. I mean, I think there was one year in the past 8, I would say. How long has he been with the team? Yes, it's had to be almost 8, over 8. There's only one season I can remember, like, oh my God, this is possible. Like, all the other seasons, it's been like, I don't think it's going to happen. So I agree with you. We're all very invested and want this for him. I mean, his story is incredible, and we want this, like, for him, and it's just sad to watch it kind of dissipate in front of our eyes, I guess. So I agree with you on that. Any other topics we want to talk about Ferrari before we exit this red train?
I think Lewis is going to really outperform Charles this season. And I think this is going to be a moment where Charles goes, oh shit, I got to go back to the drawing board. Even with Carlos being his teammate in previous years, we all kind of said, Carlos was doing better. Carlos should have stayed. And this kind of history is repeating itself with, even though Charles is like the Ferrari golden boy, he's not performing like a golden boy should. So
absolutely,
I don't know. It's just hard. It's just hard to watch. I don't want to see him fail. But I gotta be honest. We gotta be honest.
Hey, I'm a Charles Leclerc stan, and I'm saying the hard truth. You know, it is what it is. But you know, maybe he'll get it together. We never know. It is definitely all the balls are in his court, as we would say here in the United States. So we'll see how they get on. And I agree with you, though, about the track-specific thing. This could have been a track-specific situation. We've got the altitude, which I completely forgot about, which I don't know how that slipped my mind, and the heat situation. So we'll see how they do in Silverstone, which is coming up next. Speaking of the heat affecting people, man, on the weekend, the week of our independence. No, I'm kidding. It's not. Cadillac represent America over here by just going up in flames, full on flames this weekend. Both cars just horrible qualifying, 19th and 20th, right above those Aston Martins. And we know how good those cars are. So that was probably really difficult to do. But then in the race, they both DNF'd. I mean, Bottas, I don't even think made it full 10 laps before his car lit on fire. Both big overheating brake issues. Like I mentioned, Bottas's car, literally all of his brakes were on fire. Sergio Perez had smoke in his cockpit due to the brakes being on fire. Yasmin, I don't know. Like, they're obviously a new team this year. They're just figuring this out. All of these races for them this year are the first time at this track ever. So what do you think happened here? Why did they just really struggle in this heat? And do you think this is going to be a problem for them in other situations where we have this heat?
Yeah, this brake issue of Cadillac is going to be, I think, a repetitive thing that we see throughout the season. Yeah, I know Austria was kind of heat wave. It was really hot. Yeah, I get it. But we go to other places that are maybe even hotter. Like
Singapore.
Yeah, comes to mind Singapore. We go to the Middle East. Like,
Yeah.
guys, we gotta figure this out like now, like today, because this isn't good. And again, first season in F1, they're above Aston Martin at times. That's positive, but
Yeah.
we've got to kind of figure out this key issue, because you need to get some points and you need to, see how the car runs for the entirety of the race, so that they can make these upgrades, so they can see what works in the car, especially when you've got like veterans like Perez and Bottas who have been in the sport for so long.
Yeah.
Deep breath. This is
Yeah.
just not looking good.
No, and it's frustrating, especially when we know what these guys can do in a car and not seeing them in a car. And every race for them matters. Every piece of data they can get matters. So when you sit out on a weekend like this, completely not on track for the race at all, basically, it is a lose. It's a hit for the drivers. Obviously, it's a hit for your team. You're not gathering that data, and a big just downer. Like you said, we have many other tracks that are going to have this high heat. Singapore. I'm thinking about their home race in Austin, Texas. In the high heat Texas desert. Well, the desert for Texas. It's outside of Austin, so it's not that deserty. But Texas is hot. Granted, it'll be in October. But, I mean, you start to think about, like, oh, man, we have a lot of tracks coming up where you could encounter some of this heat. Now, again, I wonder if it was the heat plus the altitude situation that was maybe causing these breaks to really just become giant combustion problems. I mean, yeah, it just was not a good week for them. I think they've been making steady progress. They haven't been the worst team on the grid. That crown goes to Aston Martin. Which is positive for them, especially their first season. But this weekend, just huge loss for them and a write-off, really. Do you think Silverstone will be different, Yasmin?
I'm kind of holding out that Silverstone is going to be better for not just Cadillac, but a lot of the teams that were having these reliability issues. Williams comes to mind with Carlos and his car just like cutting off. I know this probably doesn't have anything really to do with the heat and the altitude, but I'm just I'm just taking a whim here and being like, yeah, it will be all solved with a colder climate. We will find out how wrong I'm going to be when we go to Silverstone next week.
They better perform, man, because it is July 4th weekend here. We are in enemy territory, okay? This is the day we declared our separation from that country. And if we go up in physical flames on their homeland soil, it will be very embarrassing. No, I'm kidding. But
Let's
it
go
would be
America.
Yeah, America.
Yeah.
Yeah, independence. Tea, taxes, whatever. No, I mean, honestly, like we said, it's so important for them. You never want to see a team double DNF, and especially due to things that are of no control necessarily of their own. It wasn't like a driver fault or a crash or anything like that. It's just brakes really hot, man. And they decided to start a little bonfire on their own. So we'll see how they do in Silverstone. Hopefully they can have better luck there. And hopefully, if anything positive comes from this weekend for them, is figuring out how they're going to plan and handle some of these other high heat situations that they have coming up. So last but not least, we got to talk about it, because Mercedes, they weren't necessarily on top this weekend, but they ended up there by the end. George Russell obviously taking home the win, a much needed win for him. At the end of this weekend, that puts George at 131 points and Kimi at 171, obviously coming home in third this weekend, which I was actually surprised by. I honestly didn't think at one point in the race, I was like, oh, Kimi might not be on this podium at all. But again, did great. Oh my gosh, if he his racing just stresses me out so much. The amount of times that kid went off track, I was like, ah!
He just puts his foot to the floor and doesn't let off.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, brake, please, brake. He is just a rocket ship. Like, he really is. And I know
No
we're talking
fair.
like he won the race, but, like, just every time he races, I am like you. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so much so that I'm like, okay, dial it back, dial it back, dial it back. Like I'm like, you're too excited. Like you're gonna crash. Like just wait for the right moment. Don't try to force it. But yeah, it's always fun to watch him race, even when he's not winning. But still good on him to get on that podium in third place. George, I'm sure this felt like a big old sigh of relief for him, being able to get those points, but also show his team like, hey, I'm still out here. I'm still fighting. I know your boy Kimmy's been bringing it home recently, but I'm not giving up either. It was much needed for him. Obviously, the points gap there still pretty large, 131 to 171. Do you think, Yasmin, that George is going to be able to really bring this fight to Kimmy? I just don't. It's so hard to like ask that question. I feel like one, we haven't had a ton of races yet. There's a lot more to come. But two, the way Kimmy has been, it's just like, was this an off weekend and George took advantage? Or how do you feel like George will be moving forward if this was just a one-off or not?
I think we're gonna see George basically have, like, no apologies. Like, he is just gonna race how he wants to race. Um, because I don't think he wants to get shown up by a teenager, basically. He's been waiting for this opportunity for so long. He's hungry for it, but I think so is Kimmy. Like, he may be new to, well, not new, but he may be very, well, yeah, well, very new to the sport and young, and you can't deny that he does not have the capability to fight George or anybody on that track. Um, it's more what I'm worried about is team orders. Like, how is Mercedes going to deal with them too? Especially
Mm,
when you have Toto Wolff, who had the deal with 2016 with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Um, I'm just so intrigued to see where we're gonna go with them two.
yeah.
Especially if you put in the reliability issues that we've had, it spices it up even more. With maybe Max Verstappen coming back into the mix, Lewis Hamilton coming back into the mix, we could have an exciting title fight.
Yeah, we could. It's still early. And also, there are things flying around, or word I heard that is, and forgive me, I have not done a ton of research on this, so please don't butcher me. But a certain thing that Mercedes has been using on their engines, the FIA and F1 have said they have to take off. So, I mean, do you want to hear my really hard take on this?
Of course I do. Come on, give it to me.
George is not going to do it. I just
Whoa.
I mean, I don't know if that's a hard take, but I think he will have to get incredibly lucky for it to happen. Just Kimmy, the way he's racing and the pure talent oozing out of that kid's little teenage pores are it's undeniable. And also the fact that I feel like George had this entitlement or this thought of like, it's my turn. That just tells me you don't have it as much as your teammate does. And when I have it, I mean like the hunger for it. The fact that you even had that thought that like, I'm entitled to this is mine, is already alarming to be like, you're never given anything in this sport at all. You earn everything you get in this sport. No one's going to hand it to you. So I just think the only way George is going to pull this off is if Kimmy has a ton of bad luck. With the engine failure situations, I could see him getting into trouble maybe once or twice this season with how just aggressive he is sometimes. And sometimes his driving style, especially in the beginning of the race, I think we see this often, is when he's under these incredibly high stress situations, which, let's be real, the whole race is high stress. But at the beginning or toward the end of a race, we start to see him. It's aggression and it's really taking some risks as a driver, but it almost, to me personally, comes off as frantic. Like we're not thinking clearly. We're not bringing ourselves down to a calm level of like being able to be like, put your head down and get done what you need to get done. It's like, trying to make it, maybe there, blah, maybe not, oh no, like it feels like that to me. And I feel like that's going to come and bite him in the ass at some point this year. I don't know if you feel similar to that about his just like trying to almost sometimes force the overtake or force things to happen.
Yes, I do think this could bite him in the ass, like you said. But I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
Is because, again, talking about Kimi being really aggressive and how he drives, do you think it's like similar to Max Verstappen? Because when Max does the type of racing that Kimi does, it's like, this is Max, he's so aggressive, he shouldn't be doing this. But when it comes to Kimi, people say it's very impressive. And this is just like, I'm seeing these parallels between when Max Verstappen started in the sport. Everyone said, that's really impressive, he's got balls, that's really like, whoa, look at him. But the more he progresses into his career, it's like he's this villain. Do you think like the same would happen to Kimi? Very off topic, but
No, I think that's a great question to ask because I actually didn't think about that until you mentioned it there. And you're right. There's this like when Max does it, it's aggressive and angry. And when Kimi does it, it's like, wow, look at that talent, his pure energy for the sport. I think the reason it comes off like that with Max is honestly his demeanor, but also like he has had a track record in the past of being aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. Like, let's go back to last year when he tried to run George off the track. Like, I don't see Kimi doing that. Yes, I think everyone's a bit enamored right now. New kid on track. We're seeing really the talent he has in this car. And I think there is a little bit of this shock and awe around the new talent. So I would say he's a little bit protected in that like new prodigy bubble. But I think the reason that that's the way with Max is because he's legit done some things that have been completely uncalled for, in addition to hard racing. Where Kimi is just hard racing. He's not trying to take George off the track on purpose. or force people off track because you pissed him off.
fair.
Think that's the difference that you're seeing there. But you don't know, like, if he continues like that in his career and the whole, like, you know, new shiny kid on the track thing wears off, it could be. But I think it's about the way the driver, each one of these drivers has a brand, you know, the way they carry themselves, the way they talk, and that also translates into the way, the lens you see what all these drivers do on and off track. It's all being filtered through that lens there. But good question, honestly. Like, I didn't really even think of that with Kimi.
I
Yeah.
wasn't even really thinking about it until we just really had that conversation about Max. I was like, ding, 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 light bulb moment. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it was a great result for George. I mean, I think if he needed a little bit of a confidence boost, this was a great one for him to do that. Do I think he'll be able to carry this forward? We'll see. I think Kimmy is just stronger overall and just hungrier overall. And I think that's why he's going to do it this year. Personally, I think George will bring a fight to him, but also you brought up the Max Verstappen of it all. When I look at these two, and if I'm like, okay, if they're given orders, who's going to be more likely to follow them? George, 100%. Like, he's a little brown noser. Like, he's the kid that tattles on you in school because you cheated on your test. And Kimmy's kind of like the punk skater kid that like chews gum in the back row and sticks it under his desk, but is still nice and everyone loves him.
with his puka shell necklace.
Oh
or
my God,
whatever
the
it is.
freaking shark necklace. Again with the shark necklace. I really want to know, like, what's the reason with the shark necklace? Like, are we for the sharks? Are we shark conservationists?
Maybe he's like a surfer or something. I don't know.
And in Italy?
They've got They've got the ocean as well.
I know, but like I've been there. I've never once seen a surfer. I've seen a lot of people drinking wine, but never a surfer. No, I just think like with that attitude, I think George is very much by the book, play by the rules. Also, like, be nice, keep people on your nice side. And I could see Kimi being a little bit more aggressive and being like, no, I'm not giving him back that place, or no, I'm not doing that. So yeah, that just had my little thought on that. But great performance from them. Great points again. They're still at the top of the charts when it comes to the drivers and the constructors championship. So they're well on their way to winning these both. We will see. Still a lot of races to go. Silverstone next week, like we talked about. Yasmin, are you excited? Is there like big festivities because that race is very close to you? Is everyone, get together and watch, or what's the deal there?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well.
I may be close to, well, I'm not really.
Close-ish.
I'm across the pond.
Yeah.
But like, no, I think anywhere in Ireland, we're just like, English. But like, I'm excited to watch the race with my
Yeah.
mom. My mom's been to Silverstone loads of times. I think the last time she was there, she saw Senna win.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, flex.
Yeah, seriously, your mom is the OG.
Yeah. It's either Senna or Schumacher she saw. But my mom, like, sometimes, like, again, because she has so many, like, I'm going off topic, but so many, like, tape recordings of when she was there at Silverstone. She'll be like, look, I was here.
So cool.
She'll show me, like, coming up to Silverstone, so.
We love that. We love that for
Yeah.
her. I wasn't sure because technically it is the closest physical race to you. So I wasn't sure if like there's a little bit more festivities going on around it because it is closer.
No, it's no. Yeah, it's just seen as England.
England.
They're literally like, it's just like English people.
Daniela's not here and we're shitting all over English people. Sorry, not you, Daniela. You're the exception. You're outside of the English people. It's okay. I'm sure everybody. I will say the World Cup is obviously still going on here in the United States, and one of the stadiums is in Boston. Seeing everybody come here and experience the United States, who maybe have never been here before or haven't been here for a long time, it's been great. I'm not going to lie. And you guys have been awesome. And the city has just been really enjoying having everyone here. And I don't know, maybe this is me being like a American, but I feel like sometimes like this place gets a bad rap. And maybe it's because I talk to a lot more Europeans than maybe the normal American does. But I almost get this like fear of like it's like a scary place or something. And seeing everybody come here and like experiencing at least Boston or United States and forming their own opinion. And I know also the Tartan Army, like being here and all of the like just positivity I've heard from them of like, you guys were so welcoming, we had so fun, like it made me happy. So yeah, I just like, we've got a lot of you Europeans over here for the World Cup recently, and we've been enjoying it. We love having you. Come back again. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you guys. Yeah, Tartan Army's strong. We were like really sad when they left, low-key. Like I haven't seen a kilt in like a week and I'm a little sad.
Well, Ireland did not qualify for the World Cup, but I am also half Moroccan, so I'm rooting for Morocco right now. Hopefully we win. So
yes, no, just the Tartan Army was here. Just the good old Scots with their Scots and drinking, and it was great. We loved it. Anyways, thanks for joining us for another episode, guys. We had fun chatting about it and everything Austria. We will see what Silverstone has in store. But in the meantime, make sure to subscribe to the podcast over on Spotify or on YouTube if you enjoy watching your podcast. We're over there. We would love to see you. Make sure to rate the podcast wherever you listen and or watch. We'd love to hear your feedback. And if you have any topics you ever want us to talk about or just want to say hey, follow us over on social media at Instagram and TikTok. Shoot us a DM. We'd love to see you and hang out over there. But till next time, you guys, we will see you in the fast lane. Bye-bye.
Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet ya, glad you came too.